Hell yeah.
Okay, all right. So
Definitely do it.
what was your experience there? What exactly do you recall?
My biggest challenge was trying to decide where my source of evil would come from.
Mm,
And like I kept that very vague,
mhm.
thinking it could always be vague. It's a force of evil that, comes
General
from,
enemy.
and like I had to basically give this character like a backstory, like
Uh-huh.
a really hefty backstory. And I didn't think that was important. And the second I did that, like it was really hard to do, but you learn that, for example, when you're trying to create an antagonist and you have to create a character that people will love and love to hate. And in order to create a character like that, you have to give them a story that people can fall in love with almost, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and I never did that. And so that was one of the things that Sam really called me out on, which made it a lot easier then to sort of build around that. It's really helpful to talk to somebody who knows the industry, because I think writers, it's a very lonely process when you're writing, and then all of a sudden you like find yourself in this box and you think that your writing is going to be like it's going to just suffice, like you're doing this for like you have a creative vision, like an artistic purpose. But then Sam's here to tell you, like, well, first he's going to ask you what you want out of your book. Like, do you want to
Mhm.
sell your book? Do you know your audience? Like, if you want your audience to like your book, like you can't have this in there. You must have
Oh,
this, or
interesting.
like this is really like this is what people are buying right now. This is the market. Like,
Was that hard for you to hear?
no.
No.
I think that's my one piece of advice, just like as a writer, and I don't know, creative people in general, like you have to let the business side of things come into play.
Okay.
He also gave some like really great advice, uh, just like, why don't you flip these two scenes around and catch the reader's attention a little sooner?
Uh,
Like, why don't you start with, because I had this chase scene that I wanted to put into my first 20 pages. And he's just like, why don't you just start with that on page 1?
right.
And he's not going to say that to everyone like it's particular to what he's just read. And in his mind believes could be reworked in such a way that would be better, right? It's not always recommended to have a chase scene in the beginning, but this was something
Yeah.
that he thought would be better off
I think
that
he
way.
works on gut instinct a lot. And I mean, he will just come up with things in the moment. I feel like he's the book whisperer. He just kind of
Yeah,
knows what your book needs, and has done that to
yeah,
me too. I made many changes based on just things that he came up with on the spot,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
works so much better.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have this captive audience. We're going to post this on YouTube and share it with our group. So if you could say anything to your fellow members, what would you want to tell them about your audience, the group, and whether they should do this?
Oh
Or just creating
God,
a workshop.
whether they should do this?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Definitely do it. I mean, and I feel I haven't capitalized on pub night, for example, yet, or a couple of other things, but like there really is a community backing you, and I've exchanged a lot of phone numbers, and I keep in touch
right.
with some of the writers, and they're just really supportive, man.
So last question. What's next for your book and for your writing?
Ah, I the goal is to finish the book.
Finish.
Hopefully this month. I'm working my butt off. I'm taking time off work to finish it this month. So
Great. Great. You're very dedicated. I love to hear it.
I'll keep you posted.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, Jelena. And for those of you that are seeing us online, you can check us out at soyouwanttowrite.org. And we'll have some other videos for you shortly. See you soon. Thanks a lot.